Okay, welcome everybody. We'll start because it's 12:30. Welcome to today's report out. I'm Louise Brennan. I'm the Senior KPO Specialist. I'll be opening today's session. I'm also workshop lead, so I've got two parts to say to start with. So, okay, welcome. I'm just going to check that Shrewsbury can hear us and see us okay. Fabulous, thank you. Okay, right, so welcome to this week's report out, where the opportunity to hear how the RPIW this week have been applying the Transforming Care production system to the shortlisting process. This is a great demonstration that our lean approach to improvement can be applied to non-clinical as well as clinical processes. Removing variation makes our system for recruiting staff more reliable and transparent. Hospitals everywhere are competing to recruit the same talented, caring individuals to maintain safe, quality services. To be successful in a very competitive employment market requires that we continue to review every aspect of our recruitment process and test and measure solutions, making incremental improvements until we have developed the most reliable and timely system. We are joined today by our colleagues at RSH, including Emma Salvoni, who was a process owner for one of our previous RPIWs, and she will update us with her most recent remeasures and the learnings from what she has encountered since the RPIW. We will conduct today's report out with certificates and closing comments from Simon Wright, our Chief Executive. So now I'm going to tell you about our RPIW. So next bit of paper. So thank you for attending all. We're going to tell you about what we've been doing this week in our Rapid Process Improvement Workshop. This week's Rapid Process Improvement Workshop has been for the recruitment value stream. The team this week have focused on the shortlisting process and interview prep within women's and children's. The team assembled this week to address the scope include recruitment team, recruiting managers, admin support staff, workforce team and staff from procurement, including Rebecca, who is our new starter who's only been in staff for 2 weeks. Give us a wave, Rebecca. Lean concepts of 5S, mistake proofing and setup reduction have been used to address improving flow and remove wastes and defects that occur throughout the process. I'm now going to hand over to the team and they're going to tell you about what they've been doing.
Thank you. So please. Hello, my name's Paula Davis and I'm Head of Procurement. I'm also Team Lead for this RPIW. The Target Progress Report details 7 baseline metrics for this RPIW. The current state lead time from advert closes to the day of interview is 19 days and 10 minutes. The target set by our sponsor, Paula Dabbs, is to reduce this to 10 days. The current state sub-lead time from advert closes to invite to interview sent to candidates is currently 14 days and the target is to reduce this to 7 days. Currently, 10% of candidates who accept an interview cancel 24 hours prior to interview. The target is to reduce this to 0. The percentage of inquiries from candidates about the application process stands at 8% for this GEMBA, and again the target is 0. At present, 100% of candidates did not know the interview date within 1 week of the advert closing. Yet the target is to reduce this to 0. We also looked at the setup reduction and the time taken to locate information required for the interview. This currently takes 60 minutes and the target set is to reduce this to 9 minutes or less. Looking at using the 5S principles for producing the interview packs and questions and moving from the current level of 1 to a proposed level of 4. The TAC time, or pace of work for the boundaries for this RPIW, was a total of 28 days, the period of time, divided by the number of vacancies, which was 8, giving us a TAC time of 3.5 days. The value stream map shows the stops in the process and the waits and the delays. The Kaizen bursts show the opportunities for improvement. Current process flow chart shows delays in the flow of information, and the pink post-its show the waste and the defects.
Good afternoon. My name's Mandy Hannell. I'm the Booking and Records Manager. The problem that we identified was the length of time taken from advert close to interview day in processing application forms and preparing for the interviews. An idea to solve this problem is to ensure that all recruiting managers are familiar with the use of TRAC. We need to remove the need to print needs to be removed, but if it is needed, to keep it to a minimum. We need to use electronic equipment, for example an iPad or a PC, to shortlist, and where possible to type up the score sheets with comments at the time of interview. Also, prior to submitting an advert request, book the room, identify and agree availability with the panel members. We tested the printing time, the printer costs, admin time and costs, time to review and shortlist or decline an application, and time to book a room, contact and agree dates with panel members and source the questions. The results showed, using the example of 49 applicants to be reviewed and 31 shortlisted for one vacancy in Women and Children's, if the whole process was followed using track, the cost of printing and the printer and admin time would be approximately about 11 pence, compared to the nearly just under £50 by doing everything manually.
Hi, my name's Beck Tope. I'm an EDC operator in stores. One of the problems that we were looking at as a team was that some of the people who hold interviews within Women's and Children's struggled to access interview questions as they were having to ask around for them. This seemed to be very time consuming as it was taking anywhere up to 303 minutes to source a set of interview questions. Some of the ideas that we came up with to help solve the problem was to create a shared drive on the OneDrive where interview questions in each department within Women's and Children's could be accessed by recruiting managers. However, we also thought that for security reasons, recruiting managers would not be able to access questions above their band. The way we tested this was to time Laura Parsons, the MLU manager of Bridgnorth and Ludlow, on how long it would take her after shortlisting to access her interview questions on the OneDrive. The result that we had was it only took 2 minutes, cutting the time down by a considerable amount, as well as starting out at a level 1 on the 5S and getting it to a level 3.
Hi, I'm Laura Westcott, I'm the OD team administrator. One of the problems that we were trying to solve was that recruiting managers and supporting staff were expected to know how the recruitment process works, as well as how to use track. These restrictions were creating delay and frustration within the process, resulting in numerous calls to the recruitment team. The idea to solve this problem was to test having mandatory track training sessions, which newly employed members of staff will be booked onto. We've added a column within the induction booking spreadsheet where we will record the staff who will be involved in recruiting and then book them onto a session via the training diary. We tested the idea with recruiting managers at the open house. The feedback was positive and staff said they would find training sessions useful, especially if they don't recruit frequently. Over the next 90 days, the training sessions will be added to the training diary and shared in Chatterbox and on SaTH social media. The training will be available to all new recruiting managers and any existing managers in the organisation.
Hello, my name is Nick Robinson and I am the PA to the Head and Deputy Head of Midwifery. Recruiting managers informed us of difficulties regarding booking interviews, resulting in delays to the interview date. The standard work combination sheet showed high levels of time spent when creating packs prior to the interview. In our example process flow, an interview pack was printed containing 33 application forms, a job description, a person spec and an interview schedule. 94 minutes were taken to print 2 interview packs and a cost of £7.12 to print 508 pages of paper. To reduce the time spent locating an interview room, recruiting managers could reserve a pre-booked interview room which will be available to Women and Children's every Friday. To save time and cost, printing interview packs, iPads were sourced to download the applications, job description, person spec and schedule from track. We simulated an interview setup and timed how long it takes to book the pre-reserved interview room, as well as how long it took to download the interview pack from track to iPad. The time taken to source an interview room was reduced from 20 minutes to 1 minute, and the time taken to create an interview pack was reduced from 94 minutes to 1 minute and 4 seconds.
Hi, my name is Sarah Hotchkiss. I'm a business administrator in procurement. The problem the group were faced with this week was to reduce time and waste for managers whilst trying to locate items for interviews. The group's idea was to test an interview prep box, which would include iPads, laptop, projector, pens, notepads, water jugs and cups. This would be located in the admin hub with a procedure of how to book this in and out. Looking at our observation forms, the setting up of the interviews was extremely timely, but after working with some different ideas, we have almost completely eliminated that waste. We tested the box and PDSA'd 3 versions. The box has now evolved into a trolley. We mistake-proofed the trolley using a shadow board and Kanbans. The results were it previously took 60 minutes to collect all the items required for an interview, and this has now been reduced to just 6 minutes. The feedback from recruiting managers is that the trolley will vastly reduce the amount of time to resource all of the items. We 5S'd the trolley, which came out at a level 3.
Hi, I'm Hannah and I'm the recruitment advisor for the Trust. So the problem identified was that as part of the planning process, it became clear that some of the recruiting managers on the Gemba were unaware of the benefits that Track had to offer. This was creating a variation of work between managers when shortlisting and also setting up the interviews. The idea to solve the problem was to produce a myth-busting fact sheet that will assist managers with informing them of the benefits of track, which includes ways you can reduce the amount of time taken to shortlist. We tested this by visiting recruiting managers on the Gemba and talked them through the myth-busting fact sheet. The feedback was positive and everyone seemed impressed with the functions that track had to offer. Copies of the myth-busting fact sheet are available for you to take away today, and a copy will also be uploaded onto the intranet. As part of the PDSA, the results were that the greater use of an electronic system will save time and money. The individuals who have been involved in this week's RPIW will meet again in 90 days to look at rolling these ideas out across the trust. Thank you.
The value stream map shows that the improvements made during this RPIW have addressed a lot of the Kaizen bursts. Some of the activities will be done earlier in the process, and using the track system will reduce the amount of waste throughout. The future state process flowchart shows waits and delays in the process have been reduced and that waste has been removed from each of the process steps. The home team this week have engaged and happy to test out our ideas, and as process owner over the next 30 days I will complete the items on the newspaper and continue to PDSA the improvements. I look forward to sharing the results with you over the next 3 months.
Well done. The team have worked well to challenge the mental valleys in the existing process and drawn best practices across the Trust to assist in the rollout of the RPIW in recruitment within women's and children's, but also to look at better practices going forward that will assist recruiting managers in all areas. The team were able to reduce the lead time from 19 days 10 minutes to 11 days by introducing standard work and the introduction of training for managers. The sub-lead time of 14 days has been reduced to 4 days through the implementation of setup reduction techniques such as arranging interview locations and interviews prior to the advert going out and centralising interview questions. The percentage of candidates who accept an interview and cancel 24 hours prior to interview and the percentage of inquiries from candidates about their applications are both being measured and tested within the next 30, 60, 90 days as and when recruiting opportunities arise. We're hopeful that those will be reduced because of the setup reduction work undertaken prior to adverts being sent out and the standard work that's been implemented. The percentage of candidates who did not know the interview date within 1 week of advert closing should now be 0%, as the interview dates are now to be included in the advert and the recruitment team will help to monitor this. Having made improvements to the interview packs and questions through the implementation of a question bank, the use of electronic devices and the reduction of printing, the new 5S level of a 3 has been achieved and work will continue during the next few months to review and aim for level 4. Setup reduction from 60 minutes to just over 6 minutes has been achieved by not having to print everything and for the use of track and the introduction of standard work. And I just want to say, great work, team.
The recruitment value stream was launched 19 months ago. The work through the RPIW so far has seen a reduction in overall lead time to recruit, seen the introduction of systems to assist with the process and build relationships between the recruiting managers, recruitment team and our new staff. The approach of the Transforming Care production system is to test small, ensure improvements sustain and then roll out. The recruitment value stream is now at a point where rollout is the next step and will be one of the key focus areas for the sponsor team. I asked the away team this week to come up with inspirational quotes that motivate them when change is difficult. The first step is to make change, is about making the choice and acknowledging there's opportunities to improve, and sometimes this is not always a popular and easy choice. I'm really proud of the away team this week. Change is the journey and I've seen the team grow in confidence and being respectful of their colleagues. And RPIW is not just about improving processes, removing waste or sometimes saving money, it's also about developing our staff and allowing them to take control and ownership of change. I'd like to thank the home team for being so supportive this week and the extensive member of staff that have helped us throughout the week outside the test Gemba. I'd also like to congratulate Paula on her first RPIW as team lead. This is the start of Paula's journey to becoming credited to lead RPIWs. I've really enjoyed working with Paula this week and I've learnt so many things from her and I now have a new friend. Thank you to our sponsor Paula. Yes, it's been very confusing. I've had 2 Paulas to deal with for setting the targets for this RPIW, and we've kept the team driven throughout the week. So thank you very much.
So it's Paula number 2 now, who we always say we're really proud, and I'm really, really proud of the work that you've done this week. So first of all, just want to say a huge thank you to all of you. It's been a hard week. I think I've pushed quite hard. I'm not going to dwell on the targets because I've seen Simon writing, and no doubt you've got the figures in your head that you want to speak about. But there's a couple of things that makes it really important with this value stream. We chose as a sponsor team to revisit, and we revisited it because we've since implemented our track system, which is a workforce board we absolutely love, and we can understand exactly the benefits it brings to the organisation. So it was right that we took a step back and we reflected on the changes that had happened since then. And then for me, the fundamental things is this element of the recruitment value stream really is out of the control of our recruitment team, and it sits out with the recruiting managers, but it has such an impact on our candidates' perspective and experience of us in their applications that it's really good that we've got it better, and my goodness, you've really made it better. So for recruiting managers, the set-up time and their ability to focus on what they need to do rather than chasing around for boxes and questions is phenomenal. And not least, the candidates coming into our organisation, they'll know in advance when their interview is, there'll be no delays for them, and hopefully they'll walk away with a great experience and come and join us. So once again, thank you all, and thanks for giving me a week of your time. It's been a pleasure, and well done, Paula.
Okay, so we should go over to Shrewsbury now, and is Emma there? Yes, she's coming.
Hello, my name is Emma Salvoni, and I was the process owner for the 5th RPIW in the recruitment value stream, departmental preparation for my first day. The boundaries for the RPIW were from when a recruiting manager is informed of a new candidate starting in their area to the candidate's first day at SaTH. The purpose of the RPIW was to improve the process of preparing a new recruit for their first day in the trust, ensuring that new recruits start their first day with all the items and access that they require to do their job. The RPIW took place from the 29th of January to the 2nd of February, and I'm here to report back the 60-day remeasures. During the RPIW, the 5S methodology was used on the local induction checklist. We have inducted 6 new members of staff using the new induction checklist across 3 areas in the trust. This has been found to be of great benefit to both the ward managers and the staff. I'm awaiting feedback on the non-clinical version of the form, as there have not been any new starters in those areas. The form has been slightly amended for each area depending on their need, but within the same boundaries. The 5S level remains a level 3. The time it took to complete all the paperwork for candidates following their ward visit was taking 20 minutes. However, the use of setup reduction has reduced this to 35 seconds, which has been maintained at 60 days. The standard work for this process is now embedded in the 3 areas it has been trialled in. The lead time has not changed and remains at 42 days. However, the quality defects regarding staff experience have shown a 100% improvement, which we will continue to test as new staff join the testing areas in the next 30 days. I will continue to support the implementation of the improvements from the RPIW and will report the results to the Trust at 90 days, with a view to roll this out further in other areas across the Trust for use with all new starters.
Hello everyone, I'm Helen Jenkinson, and I was the sponsor for this this section of the I'm trying to think value stream. It's rushing around the M54. One of the things that I found absolutely inspiring was how we joined together and how we worked together to undo the little things. So simple things like working with IT, the myth of taking a form over to actually say that you wanted to be registered with IT, taking the form back to the ward, and how the slowness of that was quite marked. So those little things that we were able to do that have continued to be embedded as improvements were quite an inspiration to me. So and the sustained welcoming that we have on the wards now for our clinical staff has been part of the work that Emma has been doing on her wards. So as you walk that journey with Emma, you can actually see some of the improvements that are being made, and the shortening and the myth busting, which was quite helpful. when IT joined us in the RPIW week, they were able to say we can do that, and I think that's really shows some close working together. So I'm very pleased to be part of this group and very inspired by some of the work that's gone on. Thank you.
Back over to Shrewsbury. I think Victoria's joined us. Yeah. You see me?
Yes.
So I think the first comment from me is it's been a while since I've been at an RPIW for our value stream, because I've been off recently, and I'm sitting next to Tony Fox, who also has the pleasure of being an exec sponsor for the value stream, and we are slightly competitive. But actually, when you hear the work that's happening and the work that all of you are doing, so the work that Emma and the team are continuing to do in terms of that experience of when you hit the ward and you join, how that feels, and 100% improvement in employment experience is phenomenal. And the work that you guys have done over this week, whereby already candidates know when their interview is, already we can demonstrate and evidence that the experience is better, it's just remarkable. And I've forgotten how special these report outs are and how they really give you that hope that the stuff and the work that we're doing through this methodology is improving things for all of us. And it will take us time to get there across the whole organisation, but actually when we look across the value stream map for recruitment, most of our Kaizen bursts are achieved. Kathy and I had to stop and take a breath when you said 19 months, because it doesn't quite feel that long. But we've done so much work through this value stream, which was making a fundamental difference. And with workforce being the biggest risk for our organisation, to be able to look at our processes and know that we are now making massive improvements in not only the time that they're taking, but the experience that our future colleagues have is really, really phenomenal. And that's down to you all giving up your time, creating the headspace, and really pushing through those improvements, which sometimes can be challenging, but still seeing them through to an end. So just a massive thank you to everybody, and a massive thank you to the team at PRH. Sorry I'm not there, but massively well done. And I know a number of people have commented on it, but Paula Davis, you rock. So just a massive thank you, Paula, because I know this, completing your ALT is one thing, now doing all this work is something completely different, so just well done. And obviously Paula D number 2, thank you as well. So yeah, I think that's probably all I want to say, and I'm probably over my minute, so I'm seeing some signs like this. So I just want to say a massive thank you, and I love this value stream, it's fantastic, so thank you all again. Right, I'm going to go.
Afternoon. Hi, my name's Claire Marsh and I'm the process owner for the 5th RPIW for the Outpatients Department Ophthalmology. The focus of the RPIW was to look at the pathway for the retinal injections. The theme of this RPIW was a process of when a patient comes into the eye clinic for the intravenous eye injections. The boundaries for the RPIW was to look at the process from when the patient enters the Cotthorne building at the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital to the point where the patient receives the injection. The aim of the RPIW was to reduce the amount of waiting time that a patient experienced whilst attending the clinic for their eye injection. The plan was to reduce any waste identified in the process, and by applying lean methods such as setup reduction, mistake proofing and one-piece flow. The RPIW took place between the 5th and 9th of February, and I'm here today to report back on the 60-day remeasures. The baseline lead time from when a patient arrives in eye clinic to when a patient is about to receive an eye injection was 4,027 seconds. I am pleased to report that this has been reduced to 1,250 seconds, an improvement of 69%. The lead time from arrival in clinic to entering consultation rooms saw a massive reduction of 81%. It went from 2,337 seconds to 389 seconds. The relocation of the patient's waiting room and logmar room to vicinity of the consultant and treatment rooms was created a 38% reduction for both patients and HCA's walking distance, creating a more structured, positive patient experience. 5S was implemented in the consulting room and the logmar room, and on a level of 1 to 5, I'm pleased to announce it still remains at a level 3, and we're slowly introducing this into all clinic rooms in the area. There were 4 quality metrics measured with a target of 0%. Percentage of when patients were unaware of a reason for injection was improved by 100%. Percentage of times when drugs are not available for patients' appointment are seeing no improvement and continues to be an issue at 37.5 defect. Percentage of times booking lists was incorrect was seen improvement by 66%. And finally, the percentage of times when information wasn't available for patients in clinic also improved by 100%. The remeasure regarding the lead time have seen great improvements, reducing the waiting times for our patients when attending for their injection appointments. My newspaper, although we have achieved 100% in nearly all of our actions, we continue to work on the remainder. We would welcome the implementation of one-stop clinics where a patient attends only for one appointment as a review by a doctor, and a decision is made whether injection is required there and then. This would save the patient having 2 appointments and having repeated investigations, providing the patient with more of a positive experience and in turn create more appointment types for our patients. Barriers to this not being able to achieve this is the lack of being able to stock the injections held in clinic, which would allow us to provide this service. That's it, thank you.
Where am I looking? So the reason I'm standing here is because unfortunately Andy Elves, as sponsor, is unable to attend today. So with great privilege that I am standing here and also as sponsor for the overarching value stream. So I'd just like to thank Claire very much for the report out. I think it just reflects the enthusiasm of all of our staff in enhancing our patients' experience across the board, not just in this value stream, but every other has been demonstrated beautifully. Paula, I'd just like to say you set the bar really high, and for those of us who have done ALT and are waiting our first team lead role, that fills me with some degree of trepidation, but really looking forward to it. I'm not going to go through any of the figures that we've just heard. I think the results speak for themselves. And I think just looking at all of our RPIWs within our overarching value stream, we've had a lot of elements from where the learning has been rolled out across the organisation into many other specialties as well. And one of our biggest challenges remains around cancellations, around outpatient bookings. And although we've just had our 4th quarter value stream metrics which show a reduction in those cancelled by us and by our patients, there's still a lot of work to do. Much of that was around pushing out the horizons, but although we always love all the successes, that can create other problems in terms of timing around clinics, around things like medical consultant leave. And a focus of our next RPIW in June is around the cancellations. So that is going to be really important for the organisation, with close to 500,000 outpatient appointments every year. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much for all of the teams involved, not only in my own value stream but everyone else, and also particularly our patients' involvement, which is absolutely key. And then our next RPIW, one of our patients is actually joint sponsor. Thank you very much.
Afternoon, everybody. Can you see me okay on the cameras over back at RSH? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Before I give you a little bit of feedback about the great improvements that we've heard about today, I just wanted to linger on this point about continuous improvement. How do organisations become outstanding? How do they become the envy of others? How do hospitals stand in the sort of the shoes of giants? You know, organisations like Virginia Mason, who are recognised all around the world for the work that they do and the safety that they provide. So how do they do that? Well, they do it through creating a methodology and a philosophy of care where continuous improvement is something that everybody in the organisation sees as their responsibility. And this is the journey, of course, that we're on. And I think what we've heard today and what we continue to hear at all of our report outs is the absolute skill that's being deployed really by all of our teams in doing and putting those practices into evidence and benefiting our patients. So let's kind of linger a little on some of that. So it's lovely, Rebecca, that you, 2 weeks into the organisation, are immersing yourself into the philosophy and taking part in an RPIW. So well done for being brave enough to do that. It's fantastic. If we look at the flow diagrams, if you remember, that's the one with all the post-its on, you saw the different colours. So that illustrates just how much waste there is in the processes that we do. So, you know, we're largely a people industry, but we're doing a lot of things that add no value to our patients or to our staff's working lives. So removing those wastes gives us time to be able to do the thinking or the care that our patients need, the smaller nuances of work that often can be overlooked. There are a couple of really interesting points. The cost of paper by moving on to using technology rather than, you know, as he says with his piece of paper, having bits of paper. And I did a quick sort of calculation that with the staff that we employ, that one change has just saved us £20,000 a year. So, you know, these things might not sound like a lot, but they make a real difference and have a real impact. The preparation box, and we're seeing lots of the sort of boxes and trolley type of solutions coming in now to try and make it easier. We spend a lot of time toing and froing to make sure we've got the right stuff. So being able to do that in one go and have everything available to you conveys a sense of professionalism as well when you're having interviews with staff. And we heard from Emma about the work that's being done in the other value stream and how that's resulted in 100% benefit in terms of the staff's experience. I mean, that's really, really important. You know, we're sat at the moment with our staff survey results, and we need to be better than those survey results are suggesting. So hearing examples like this where we can see a very clear illustration of what we can do to improve the experience for you all is really important. So I also wanted to make reference to the fact that when we look through all of the work and thinking about the stuff that Claire was talking about around ophthalmology, it's not easy to make a change. It's even harder to make it stick. So to be at day 60 and to see those changes in place and still there, still delivering those quality outcomes is really important. And we hear at every one of our sessions how parts of the change process are either at day 90 or beyond, where we've actually not just made the change but been able to keep that change in place. And that's something that the NHS has found quite hard to do. So it says a lot about the way that you're going about doing and delivering change for us to be able to do that. So I also wanted to make a little reference around the question of the drug availability, which was one of the challenges that you're faced with. And I know that Tony and the exec have been talking about how we can support you in looking for solutions to that problem so that we don't have patients coming back for another clinical appointment when they don't need to. And in a service that sees over 60,000 people a year, you know, that one change could make a really big difference, couldn't it? So we'll be helping you to make sure that we see that one through. I can't avoid making reference to Mr. Fox feeling anxious, which I think I've never heard you say that before, Tony. So that's quite interesting. So I'm sure that as we move through all of the work that we're doing, what we find is that it surprises us sometimes with the skills that we have and the heights that we're able to achieve. And we talked before about Paula's, and we've got a lot of Paula's in the room today. But Paula's done an incredible job with this value stream and the RPIW. And, you know, and this is, you know, I hope you don't mind me saying Paula did Lean for Leaders and then did Advanced Lean Training. And a lot of the improvements that we saw last year through procurement are evidencing that work. And we saved nearly £2 million in procurement through that hard efforts from your team and using those skills. So this is making a material difference not just to the time that our staff spend, not just to the quality of care that we can offer for our patients, but also to the sustainability of our organisation, and that's really important. So as I close, and if I can sort of end where I started, which is in saying well done to the team and the hard work in completing the Rapid Improvement Week and making those changes stick and seeing those quality improvements. And I really look forward to seeing just how far we can go with this. So far on recruitment, we've taken over 90 days out of a process. And let's not forget, staffing is our biggest risk. So everything that we do to improve our ability to recruit and retain wonderful people to join you and work alongside you is taking us a step nearer to becoming that outstanding organisation. So well done, everybody. And I think we're just about to give out some certificates, I think, now, aren't we? Okay, so well done. Who have we got first, Mandy? Welcome, Mandy. Thank you. Thanks very much. Rebecca? Laura? Sarah? Hannah? Nick? And we've got one for the home team as well, so I'm not sure who's... Oh, excellent. Thank you very much, David. Thank you. Well done, everybody. So have a lovely weekend. I think it's the weather, well, you never know. We might see a bit of sunshine, mightn't we? But thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.